Jambo familia. Welcome to the Black Fire Network Swahili classes for the weekend. I do hope that everyone is doing fantastic on yet another wonderful Saturday, being the 13th of February, the year 2021. My name is Spikes, and on the weekends we get to connect as a family and get to learn Swahili together. And the goal is really to have an apprehension or also an appreciation of the language of Swahili. In case you're wondering where we have been, last weekend we were not able to air the Swahili classes for the weekend, but we are still delighted that you have joined us today, and we are hoping to get to learn a thing or two about the beautiful language of Swahili. About the background, Swahili is really an African language that has gained prominence over the last couple of years, and even before then, we have seen Swahili being used in different African nations such as Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya. We also do have the DRC Congo. We also do have Rwanda, among other different African nations. And Swahili has over 100 million speakers, and this makes it a very, very this prolific on the African continent. And even there was a call by the president of Tanzania. The president of Tanzania was actually making a call to the leaders of the SADC, which is the Southern African Development Corporation, to put in effort towards making a memorandum. And this particular memorandum will enable Swahili teachers or Swahili tutors to be able to engage with the learning curriculums and the education sector in Southern African countries, so that we can have Swahili being taught in South Africa, Swahili being taught in places such as Namibia, Botswana, and Swaziland. And I believe if we were to embrace Swahili as a people, then we can have one common language in which we can speak across the continent of Africa. I know that there are so many languages on the continent. I do believe there are over 1,500 languages on the continent. And you might consider a place like Nigeria. In Nigeria, we do have 200 different ethnic groups in Nigeria. And therefore, it means that every ethnic group has its own language. And therefore, if you were to count the Yoruba, the Fulani, the Igbo, all these other languages will actually add up to about 200 languages. And then you cross over into Cameroon. And in Cameroon, we do have about 150 languages, by the different Cameroonian ethnic groups. And, if you were to consider that in two countries, you do have about 350 languages, and then you add on to the languages of the colonizers. In Cameroon, we do have French and English, and in Nigeria, we do have English, and then that makes it even worse. But we all know that people cannot become connected or united with having all these linguistic barriers. You are not able to communicate with the people of the Fulani. You might not be able to communicate with the people of the Igbo. You might not be able to communicate with the Yoruba. You might not be able to communicate with all these other different ethnic groups on the continent. But if we did have one language that unifies us under one particular bracket or under one particular umbrella, let me call it an umbrella, then it means that we can be able to communicate with each other and be able to understand one another. I am excited that you are with us on this particular weekend. I understand that over the weekends, it's very, very busy for everyone. And you're trying to connect with the family. You're trying to travel someplace and do some errands before the weekends. And all these other things have us very, very busy. But nonetheless, you have taken the time to join us on the Blackwood Fire Network, and therefore I do get to appreciate you. Sister Michelle, thank you so much for joining us on the show. You're saying hello, Specs, hello to you too. And also Nish Panda, you're saying hamjambo familia. Hatu jambo, asanti sana dada, which is we are well. Thank you so much, sister. We hope that you're doing well. Are you in Seattle or are you in Houston? I would just like to know whether you are in Seattle or are you in Houston. And we hope that you are doing well, you and your family. There has been so many things happening, and I got to see. I was just actually combing through the media, social media, and I've seen what has been happening with our people. And people have been comparing 2020 to 2021, and people have actually agreed that there is no comparison because, especially what is going on with our people, I think we are actually getting deeper and deeper into, situations that we should not be getting into. For example, the lady with the gorilla glue. She was talking about sticking her hair using gorilla glue or gorilla glue on her hair, and you might be wondering what inspired her to do this, or was it ignorance, or was it, I don't know what's happening with our people. But nonetheless, I've been checking out what is happening with our people globally, and things are not looking good. Things are not looking any good at all. But I like to be optimistic. I do not want to be labeled as an pessimist, because I do believe that there is still a lot of good with our people, whether be it in Africa, whether be it in the Caribbean, whether be it in the USA, whether be it in South America, Brazil, and places like this. I do believe that you do have a lot of things going on that are positive, even with our people, that do not make it to mainstream media, or that are not shared on social media. And therefore, this might make us believe that there are only bad things going on. What's going on, Spikes? We're good. I came across one particular story. I thought I would share it on some of the different platforms, like the 54 Correspondents, or like the Africa Today Show, because it has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with the status of the affairs economically or socially. But I do believe there is a problem with our people. And let me share this real quick, and then I shall get back into that particular conversation, because we have heard about stories, and now sharing with us last week, we heard about stories where someone gets to argue with their family because they have, the family has complained about them getting back home late over the weekend. And therefore, there was one particular individual, I believe that was it in New York or Tennessee? There was an individual who shot 5 members of his family because there was a quarrel about him getting back home late on a Saturday, on a weekend, and therefore I think he actually could not take it, and therefore he decided that he was going to shoot everyone. And one of the victims was actually a young woman who was expectant, and she was killed in this particular whole ordeal. And the same thing has happened even in New York, I believe in New York. And in New York, there was one particular woman. Yeah, my camera has a bit of a problem. There was one particular woman who was telling her son, "You should go out and get a job, because I'm not going to have this brother about the trip today." Okay, Is it Mr. LBN? Because I think Mr. LBN, you already spoke with Mr. LBN. I hope it's not Mr. LBN because I think Mr. LBN is good. What was I saying? I was talking about the issue with the attack on the woman who was the mother of a young man who had a drug problem. And what was happening is that the guy, the young guy, I think that was in New York, about maybe 20, in his early 20s, he was taking money from his mother's purse and using this money to go and buy some drugs because he did not want to leave the house and go get a job. And I'm just wondering if he has got it to a point where we cannot have even a normal family structure where a mother speaks some sense into their children and they get to listen and they get to follow some advice that is being, some sense that is being spoken to them. But recently, it has gotten even worse than this, because when the mother told the young man to go, you have to leave the house, go get yourself a job, go find your own drug problem. You have to go buy your own drugs with your own money because I'm over this. And then what happened is that the young man attacked the mother and she shot her. He shot her. And the brother came in. The brother had already been called. I think also this happens to relate to the same story that was shared with us by Zoe. Zoe also told us about a story that is very, very somewhat similar to what did happen with that particular incident in New York. But my point is, I think we are losing it, even as a family structure. Not just in the USA, not just in Africa, because even in Africa there was a situation where a young man who was about 22 years old happened to butcher the rest of the family because he was thinking that everyone is looking at him and mocking him because of this and that, and therefore what he decided to do was go and kill everyone in the family. But you say, no, LBN already has everything done. Yes, that's a good thing. But there has been another different incident where a mother has been forced to kick out the son because the son has been watching porn. The son has been busy watching porn in the house, and the son is waiting on the mother to come back home with money and give them food. And the son, I believe, is about 35 years old. And the guy is sitting on the couch, waiting for the mother to come back with the money and bring him food. I think we are going wrong. I think something is definitely going wrong somewhere. It has to do with, I think, maybe it's a breakdown of the family structure. I do not really understand what is happening. But before we start the class today, I just had to highlight this particular matter because there is some sort of a problem somewhere, especially with us as a black folk. I was hearing about the story with the Kenyan guy who decided to butcher five members of his family because of a quarrel, because of some small quarrel, and also the man in New York that decided to shoot his mom because his mom said, "I will not be funding your drug habits any longer. You have to go and get your own money and get your own things." But nonetheless, let me share this briefly. And this is even worse. This is even worse than the other issue. You might find it hilarious, and I just want to give a discretion on it. And then we shall go on to what is happening with our Swahili class for today.
We live. We on Facebook Live. I just got through finished.
Anthony, come on. You got to get...
What the fuck is... We live. We on Facebook Live. I just got through finished busting a nut. I don't even know what the fuck is going on. Why have you called these people? Why are you attacking? Why are you back up off me? Get away from me. Get away from me. Get away from me. Why are you attacking me? You're not taking my phone. We live. You called the cops, let the cops deal with it. You didn't want to play mother. So don't try to strong arm me now. You just called them people in here to deal with me. You didn't want to deal with me. So you brought the people in to deal with me. So you can eat a dick and get the fuck out of my face. Don't try to give me a spanking because they here. Give me a spanking when they not here.
We try to handle this as civilly as possible.
No, you not. You just came in after I finished busting a nut. You're not trying to handle this civilly as possible. You know what? You not. If you would have wanted to handle this civilly, you would have called my phone. The whole city got my number. It's on my Facebook. I'm a very popular guy around here.
Oh yeah?
Yes.
You rap or what?
Barber.
Barber. I need to line up, man. You got a car?
Get away from me. Can y'all get her away from me, please? Who are you?
You got a business card, man?
Ma'am, can I help you? Who is this lady?
You got a business card?
This is not my mother. I got some more coming. I'm out right now.
Okay.
I'm feeling unsafe right now. Y'all moving furniture around. Y'all coming in. taking control. And then I'm sorry, I feel unsafe for anybody under 6 feet. And that guy right there is very short. And because the short guys got little man personalities like that. Like they get offended very easy, and they get over the aggressive when it's not needed. And that guy is very short.
He's a pretty understanding guy.
No, he's not. I don't trust him. I don't trust no short. No guy only 5'5". I'm sorry. He has. I know he got a little man complex, and then he gonna shoot me. I feel like he gonna shoot me. I feel like he's gonna shoot me just because of his height. Yeah, I'm not. I'm sorry. I don't mean to discriminate. I'm sorry, but history have shown me every guy your height overdoes it, and I feel like I'm gonna get gunned down sitting in my living room after watching a porno.
Why you get jumped by your guy?
See, that's the aggressiveness I was talking about.
Hey, if he leaves, will you come out?
I would talk to y'all, but I'm not. Oh yes, I would talk to y'all, but this guy, I don't trust him. I know you got an issue. They're fine. We're all fine.
That's fine. I don't know. If
See, that's what I mean. He's aggressive already.
you gonna come out?
He's offensive. I know what I said was offensive, but he knows it's yes, because it's the truth. I'm sorry, it's the goddamn truth. It's the truth. It's like every guy on the 5'5" has a complex towards me, and they aggressive towards me because I'm big. I'm a big, sensitive guy,
You can feel that way.
and I'm not ashamed to say that.
It's your right to feel that way.
And I feel like these shorter persons are. And you see how she was aggressive with me my whole life. That stranger, that's a code. That's my mother. Is she? Is that Carrie Davis? I didn't call nobody. I haven't called anybody. I was just sitting there watching a porno.
What's up for hooking up people to haircut or something?
I got you. I got you. Can take my number down. Oh, I'm missing my coat. I'm afraid to reach for my coat right now. I'm gonna keep my hands crossed right here.
Everybody's hands.
Well, I'm gonna just keep mine right here. You know, black men got a tendency. No offense, they got a tendency to dying around you guys.
I'd be pretty fine.
Shit.
What's your phone number though, bro?
Shit, it'd be black cops right there. I mean, like shit, they be the ones shooting. I don't know my number by heart. It's 773.
I'm sorry about that, family. We're having a heavy rain in Nairobi. It's raining heavy. I'm not sure whether you can get to hear me from the nurses are coming up from outing. But nonetheless, I want to welcome you back to the Swahili classes for the weekend. And I'm not sure whether you can hear me. If you can hear me, please do let me know. Okay, thank you. I think you can hear me. I know there's some noise coming from the outside. Sister Nicole R is asking about we all are in some Swahili. Yes, we are. I was just trying to drive a point. There's something wrong. We need to figure out what is happening. I think there is something wrong. I was telling us about the story where there was one particular individual in New York who was asked by the mom that the mom actually said he has to go out and look for his own job so that he can be able to fund his own drug addiction and the guy shot him. And earlier before that, I was talking about a different incident where a young man was also arguing with the family because he got back home late on a weekend, and then he decided to shoot 5 members of his family. I think there's something going wrong, and we need to figure out how we can be able to get out of this particular kind of a mess, because at the end of the day, we might be losing our people to things that really do not, we should not be losing them to. But going back to our Swahili class for today, I have been saying that it's very, very important that we do have a language that we can all embrace, that we can all be able to use as the African people to be able to understand one another. There is a matter of a connection as a people and the matter of having a relationship as a people, whether be it you will come from East Africa or West Africa or South Africa or North Africa or whatever other part of the continent you might be coming from, there is a need for all of us to be able to understand one another. What has happened over the year is that we have had people trying to fight over the languages of the colonizers. For example, in Cameroon, there are two regions. We have the English-speaking region in Cameroon, and we also do have the French-speaking region in Cameroon. And therefore, you realize that the Francophones, which is the French-speaking region, has always been in a conflict with the English-speaking part of Cameroon, which is known as the Anglophone region. And therefore, what has been happening is that people have been having all these kinds of conflicts and fights over things that perhaps might be sorted out using our own African solutions and using our own African languages. You do not have to fight over whether these individuals talking in French or whether these other people do talk in English. I don't believe that would be a cause for people to take away the lives of each other. But even apart from Cameroon, we also do have other regions. For example, in Ethiopia, we do have Amharic. Amharic is the main language in Ethiopia, although we do have other different 80 languages on the continent. And there's some people fighting over. Yeah, it is. You do find people talking about the Anglophones and the Francophones. And therefore, they are fighting about who has the best master or who has the better master. And then at the end of the day, no one is really even focusing on their own values, on their own cultures, on their own traditions. You are fighting over what languages this person is speaking, what languages the person is speaking. And before colonization, which happened before the Second World War, what was happening is that Cameroon was under the Germans. Before the Second World War, Cameroon was under the Germans. And after the Second World War happened, and I believe the Germans were losing out. The control of the areas that were under the Germans were taken over by the French, and they were taken over by the British. For example, Cameroon, some part of it was taken over by the French, and then the other part was taken over by the British. And therefore, we do have some people speaking in French, and other people adopting English as a main medium of communication. And over the years, there have been a feeling that some of the regions which are Anglophones or are English speaking have been left behind, or they have been locked out as a result of this particular situation where you have the French taking over some region and the British people taking over some region. But nonetheless, I was saying that if we can have a language such as Swahili, which is an African language, a Bantu language, then perhaps you might be able to bridge the gaps existing between the people on the continent and even between the people on the continent and the diaspora. That is what I believe should be our main point of focus as a Black of Fire network, or as African people, whether be it in the USA, in Africa, in the Caribbean, in South America, in Asia, wherever you might find Black people living, because we are a global people. We need to have our own medium of communication, our own kind of a language, which is Swahili. I believe that will enable us, come together as a people and have one understanding. And then if we are understanding each other, we can be able to unify and be much stronger as a people. And I was talking about the speakers of Swahili on the continent. We do have about over 100 million US Swahili speakers. And these are people in the country of Tanzania, in Kenya, in Uganda, in Rwanda, in the DRC Congo, and also we do have Swahili speakers in Zambia. If you listen to Zambian speaking, I have some friends from Zambia. You shall also find some similarities between their own local language and also Swahili, which means that we are the First World War fighting on the Second World War. Thank you for the correction. Yes, that was the First World War, and that is when you did have the Germans actually giving their portion of the land on the continent to the British and the French. And we all know how that went after that particular one. Because earlier on, the Germans had taken a bit of Tanzania, which was normally known as Tanganyika, and then they also took over some other different parts of even Cameroon. It was known as a German Cameroon, and I believe even the name Cameroon itself came from a German, which was Karun. It was Karun. But even today, they did not decide to change the name into an African name, which is shameful, because I believe Cameroon, the name where they got the name Cameroon was actually from these particular Germans. But we shall get straight into learning Swahili. And I was saying that it's very, very important that we are able to have a language which is our own, a language that we can own. And we have been learning Swahili for over an year on the Black Hotspur Network. If you want to find some of the resources, you can head over to Spreaker. Just go to Spreaker.com and search for Swahili classes on Black Hotspur Network, and you will be able to find a catalog. You'll be able to find a catalog of what you have been learning. Some of the lessons are there, and you can be able to refer to some of the older lessons. Nonetheless, I want to get straight into it. For the past few weeks, we have been learning about the Swahili nouns and the Swahili verbs. And I believe about 2 weeks ago, we were getting to learn about some of the common Swahili verbs. And we all know that verbs are action words. All the verbs are action words. You might be talking about walking, you might be talking about eating, you might be talking about sitting, you might be talking about sleeping, and you might also be talking about things like even visiting. And all these are actually action verbs or action words with all verbs. And I want to go back a little bit into getting to understand the basics in Swahili. And the basics have to do with ice breaking, and they also have to do with greetings and also introducing yourself. They have to do with three basic things, which are actually greetings, an icebreaker, and also getting to introduce yourself. Because in Swahili, you get to realize that the culture and the way Swahili is spoken, the Swahili speakers are actually very, very friendly. And even if someone was to come and say hello to you, and they have an important matter that they want to address with you, they do not go straight into the point. There is a lot of indirect communication in Swahili, and it's actually also important that we get to understand a little bit about this kind of an indirect communication in Swahili. And another thing I want also to remind us, after we discuss about the introductions, the greetings, the icebreakers, I also want to talk about briefly about the matter of time and days in Swahili, because if you're doing some greetings, there is also the context in which these greetings are made. For example, in the morning, in Swahili, we normally do say asubuhi, which is Asubuhi, asubuhi. And if you're greeting someone in the morning, it's actually a little bit different from how you would do the greetings later in the afternoon, or from how you would do the greetings later in the evening, because the times of the day have actually changed. For example, if you're talking about how are you this morning, how are you this morning, you would normally say habari ya asubuhi. Habari ya asubuhi, which simply means how are you this morning, or how is your morning. If you're saying hello to someone in the afternoon or in the late afternoon, perhaps from 3 p.m. towards 4 p.m., you would actually say habari ya alasiri. Habari ya alasiri. There are two ways to make the greetings. You can say hujambo, which is the most common way of saying hello, or you can actually say habari yako, which is how are you. Habari yako, which is how are you. It's a simple phrase. You normally would say habari yako. And apart from that, you might also ask someone, how are they doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? How you would say that is really asking them, unaendeleaje? Unaendeleaje? Unaendeleaje is also a phrase because it means how are you doing? And it's made up of endelea endelea is a Swahili word which means to continue, and aje means how. Aje means how. So therefore, if you say endelea aje, it means how are you, how are you continuing, or how are you going on, how is your day coming up, which is really one of the simplest ways in which you can get into a conversation with someone, getting to understand how they are doing. And keep you say now, yes, go to speaker and keep in Black Hot Fire Network, Swahili class, and a bunch of classes will actually pop up. Thank you, Orlando Winter, for joining us. Wow, that one is how I say it again. It's simply, let me just put it down in a simpler way. It's endelea. Endelea means going on, or continuing. Continue all. It's like that. So unaendeleaje, it's u na endelea, then aje is on the side, aje, which is how are you doing, or also how is it going, how is the going, how is it going. And one of the most very, very popular answers to the question, how are you doing, is simply you would actually say salama, or vizuri. You might actually say salama. Salama means well. Salama in Swahili simply means well. Salama simply means well. And therefore, even if someone was to come up to you and ask you habari yako, if someone says habari is how are you, habari yako, how are you, how are you, you might respond in 3 different ways. How are you? You might respond in 3 different ways. You might say nzuri, which means good. How are you? You might say I'm good, which is good. Or you might actually say salama. If someone came up to you and said habari yako, you might say salama, which is well, which means I am well, which means well, and I would be interpreted to be I am well. And you might also say njema, which means okay. Njema, which means okay. And therefore, you might say either nzuri, or you might say salama, or you might say njema. Those are 3 ways in which you can respond to someone just coming up to you and saying habari yako dada. Dada is for a sister. Dada is really for a sister. If your sister and someone came up or walked up to you and said habari yako dada, dada simply means sister. Of course, for the brother, it would be kaka. For brother, it would be kaka or ndugu. Brother, it would be kaka or ndugu. You can also say ndugu. But there is a bit of a differentiation in which the way kaka and ndugu are used. In that kaka, most of the time, sometimes people use kaka to mean a blood brother or a relative who is a biological brother, And therefore, if someone says kaka, it's more of like a biological brother. But ndugu is a general term, I believe, for brethren, or just avoid the time in which you actually say, brother, but it doesn't have to be your own biological brother. But kaka, some of the time, kaka is used to mean biological, a closer relationship, which is perhaps biological. Bombi Nafi, you said I didn't get a notification. Anyway, what's good, Black Hot Fire family? They have not been sending out notifications, which is what happens with the channel. Even with last week, I remember General Mosquito was also saying that he hasn't gotten the notifications, and he just happened to pop onto into Facebook, into YouTube, and realized, okay, the Black Hot Fire Network is live. He actually didn't get any kind of a notification, and we understand. We know what it is. We know what is going on, and therefore, just be checking in on us, especially on the weekends, on Saturdays and Sundays. It's just 1 p.m. Eastern time. Saturdays today and also tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time, we shall be continuing with our classes and getting to learn a little bit of our Swahili. Bombi Danfo, I don't know, do you have any experience? Have you had an experience with Swahili speakers? Have you come across any Swahili speakers, and have they tried to have a conversation with you? And how was it? Did has anyone in your travel experiences come up to you and try to say hello to you in Swahili? Because if you are in Tanzania, the people are very, very friendly. And someone might just walk up to you and say hello because maybe they need to know the direction of this other place, or maybe because they need to know what time it is, or maybe because they need to ask something. And therefore, someone might walk up to you and say, habari yako ndugu, or habari yako kaka, and you would simply reply and say, salama, or njema, or nzuri. Those are the three simple ways of responding. If you're saying hello to a mom or someone who is elderly, you would actually say habari yako mama, habari yako mama, and it's understood to be how are you mom, how are you mom, which is an elderly lady. If you say mama, mama doesn't have to be your biological mom. Mama simply can be, just anyone that you feel that you have respect for and deserves a regard in the society, to be held in high regard in society. And of course, if you're talking about the father, it's simply baba. It's simply baba. Baba simply means father, or it can also be mzee. It can also be mzee. Mzee is for an elderly. Mzee is for an elderly man. Mzee is for an elderly man who is perhaps in their 65, the late 60s, or something like that. An elderly man, that would be late 60s, 70s, or something like that. But nonetheless, apart from the greetings and the ice breaking, I also taught us how to say unaendelea aje, unaendelea aje, unaendelea aje, unaendelea aje, which is how are you going on. There's also something important. There's also something very, very important which has to do with getting to introduce yourself. Getting to introduce yourself. You would really say, Zina langu, Zina langu, Zina is a name, Zina is a name, Zina is a name, Zina is a name. But if you say Zina langu, if you say Zina langu, J-I-N-A, Zina langu, simply means, is a phrase meaning my name, my name, my name. And you see Baba is used all over the world, aspects of father. Yes, it is. I think we have also seen Baba Keston. That would be the you would actually call him Baba Keston, or you'd actually also call him Mzee Keston. If someone is old, in fact, we have the likes of the first president of Kenya, who was very old. He was about 70, in his 70s. And he used to be known as Mzee Jomo Kenyatta Mzee, which is a name, a title given to someone who is old. It's a respectful title. You normally say Mzee. Or you can say Baba or Taifa, which is the father of the nation. But nonetheless, I don't believe these days we do have the father of the nation. That doesn't happen. So if you're introducing yourself, going back to the introduction, if you're introducing yourself, you'd actually say Zina langu, Zina langu. Spike, did you kick mistakes of? No, you can be able to go live. You can have 2 streams on the channel. I believe it's possible. You can have 2 streams, Baba Keston. You can have 2 streams on the platform. I didn't kick him off. I would hate to do that. I wouldn't kick him off, and I would actually hate to do that. Mr. X is doing some wonderful, wonderful jobs, especially for the family that is all about sports. Personally, I'm not the biggest sports fan. I might not even know what team is playing or what team is actually going to the finals. I barely follow. I barely follow what is happening with sports. But nonetheless, Mr. X is doing good, because I do believe sports can also be used as a tool for a revolution. I think sports can also be used as a tool for change and a positive transformation in society, even socially, economically, politically. I believe even sports can be used because, for example, on the continent of Africa, we do have so many people who do follow the Premier League, which is the English Premier League. And you might ask someone what happened with the exchange rates or what is happening with the political situation. They do not know, but they know what team won. They know what team is coming up next. They know what team bought a new player. They are very, very much they are sound sports followers. But for me, I do get to watch a little bit of some sports when I happen to be maybe in the company of friends who are just watching the game. But you'll never find me trying to get home early or trying to get out to go and watch a big game, unless, I don't know, maybe there's something else going on. I don't know. You say no, Mr. X is still live. You can have as many streams as you want on the same time. Yes, that is a General Moscow was asking earlier. which is actually a good thing. And that is why he was wondering, because you listened to Mr. X earlier on the show. But nonetheless, we shall try not to have a lot of confusion, because I understand, this is a Blackwood Far family. We shall try to have a little bit of some time. We shall try and maybe squeeze one of the shows a little bit either backward or a little bit either to the front for that a bit of not to have a mishap. Nonetheless, I was talking about introducing ourselves. Should Mauritania carry out a revolution like that of the Zanzibar revolution? They should. But I don't know if they have the spirit too. But that damn boring ass so-called football, as you guys call it, I can't was I fall asleep every time. It's the same here. I just get to watch if you have maybe some guys betting on a team or something like that. I used to dream of playing in the Premier League. Look at how far you have come, Mr. Bombi Damfa. Look at how far you have come. I think it's never too late for you. I think it's never too late for you. You might still think are the black people oppressed on that island. I believe they are. I believe that is what is happening with the black people on Mauritania. And but I haven't seen. It has been a long time since I saw. Even in Madagascar, I think even in Madagascar, people are not really as free. I think the government has a very, very strong hold even on the people of Madagascar, because if you come to think of it, there is a political class in all these countries where we do have one political class and our political families actually getting to run the country for so many years, and things take about maybe 20 years to change from one leader to another, which is quite a long time. But nonetheless, I was talking about introducing ourselves. And I was saying, if you would like to say, my name is Jina Langu. Let me just get to finish up on that. Jina Langu, which is my name. You might also want to say, my name is. You therefore say, my name is. It's translated to Jina Langu ni, because ni simply translates into is. There are two things to actually make a differentiate. And this is ni, which is, and I also want to make a distinction between ni and na. Na, I have always said, is a connector, which means and. For example, if you were to walk up, to a group of people and you're having a conversation with them, maybe you and your brother, or you and your sister, you're walking and you want to introduce yourself to another group of people, you'd actually say, habari, hamjambo. You would actually say hamjambo, and then they would respond and say hatujambo. Hatujambo is a correct response. And therefore, if you wanted to introduce yourself, you can say jina langu ni, which is my name is hamjambo. And then they will respond and say hatujambo, which is a correct response. And then you might go ahead and say, my name is Spikes. Then therefore you would say, jina langu ni Spikes. Jina langu ni Spikes. And then you might continue making your case. Maybe I would like to ask if you could assist me with the directions to get to this another place, something like that. Or if I would like to ask if there is any nearby restaurant here or something like that, because maybe you're hungry, or you would like to ask if there is this and that. But you have to say hello to people, and you also have to introduce yourself so that you can have a kind of, it's polite to do that. And I send Amani Dugu, everyone in the chat, Amani to you too, Amani Kwakopia, which is a peace to you too. And I was saying that if you want to introduce yourself, you can simply do that. And therefore you say, jina langu ni, and therefore ni is. For example, if you pointed to someone else next to you and say, who you, if you pointed to someone else and say, huyu ni ndugu yangu, huyu ni ndugu yangu, then it would simply be this. Huyu is like you're pointing to them and saying this. Huyu ni simply translates into is. Huyu ni, then ndugu is for brother, yeah? Ndugu is for brother. This is my brother. This is my brother, because yangu simply means my, all, mine. My, all, mine, translates into yangu. It translates into yangu. And therefore, if someone says, kalamu yangu, if I actually had a pen, and I just put the pen and say, hii ni kalamu yangu, for example, if I put out this pen and say, hii ni kalamu yangu, kalamu yangu, kalamu yangu. This is a pen. In our pen, we actually just call it a kalamu. And therefore, I actually say kalamu, kalamu is a pen. I'll say yangu, which is my pen, kalamu yangu. And there is different words, of course, used in the places of these are the pronouns, some pronouns, and you also do have verbs and adverbs. But if you're trying to introduce someone, you can simply say huyu ni mama, huyu ni mama yangu. Yangu. This is my mother. This is this is my mother. This is my mother. And you can also say, to introduce yourself, you can also do it differently. And you can say mimi. Mimi is personal. This is mimi simply means I. Because it means I. You say mimi. Mimi ninaitwa. My name is ninaitwa. Mimi ninaitwa. Mimi ninaitwa Spikes. Mimi ninaitwa Spikes. That will be I'm called Spikes. I am Spikes. That is simply how you would actually get to introduce yourself. You can simply say jina langu ni. You might remember that easier. Jina langu ni, because jina is for name. Or if you don't remember to say that, you can also say mimi ninaitwa Spikes. That is my name, or I'm known as, well, I am Spikes. It's very, very easy for you to be able to introduce yourself. And then after you do introduce yourself, you have to make a request, or you have to continue with the conversation. And I say the easiest way to make a conversation is really to be polite. And you would like to say, I want, because if you say that to someone, you probably need something from them. And therefore you would say, I want, I want means ninataka. I have used these are phrases sometimes, and again I have to say that when you're talking about what you want, or what would you like to request from someone whose attention that you do now have, it's very, very important for you to be able to express yourself very, very clearly. And I say, this is what I wanted, or this is what perhaps I want to talk about. I want to have a minute and talk about this with you. And therefore, you would also say in a more polite way, I would like, which really is ningependa. Ningependa, if you say ningependa, ningependa simply, it's a more polite kind of way saying that this is what I would like. This is what I would like. Maybe perhaps you have said hello to some people, and you wanted to say, maybe you wanted to request for something. Then the easiest way, or the most polite way, is really to say ningependa. Ningependa, let me just put it down. Ningependa, ningependa, which is I would like. I would like, because I would like is more polite instead of I want. I want is like you're trying to be patronizing, and therefore, like I said, Swahili is very, very polite, and it's very, very also soft. You know, people are in Swahili, you not find people getting into arguments and other things. Of course, people get angry and into arguments, but in Swahili, you not find people fighting over the streets and doing crazy things. I don't know for what reason, but the Swahili people are really, really cultured people, and might also say sophisticated. But if you want to say I would like, ningependa kuzungumza nanyi. Zungumza is really to communicate. I would just like to have a word with you. I would like to have a word with you. That would be ningependa kuzungumza nawe, or kuzungumza nanyi. If you want to to ask for some time, or to be courteous, and I say I would like to speak to you, or I would like to speak with you about this particular matter. That is talking, or to speak on, to talk, or to speak. Or to speak is really zungumza, zungumza, ongea. Really 3 words, ongea. Talk, speak, okay, it's really ongea. Or zungumza, zungumza. Or you can also say nena. So therefore, if someone says ningependa kuzungumza, ningependa kuzungumza nawe, it simply means I would just like to have a word with you, and then perhaps you'll have your attention. And apart from that, you would also, maybe perhaps if you're asking for something, maybe perhaps you have been asking for ninataka maji, you might say ninataka. Ninataka is more like a more of commanding, which is really, you can say ninataka. There's nothing wrong with saying ninataka, which sounds like Nina and Taka. Let me just also use this again. Nina, I've used this example before, and I was saying that it sounds like Nina. That's Taka, which is really I want. But you can also simply use it. You can also simply say ninataka. And you can say hello to someone, and the way to say hello is hujambo, hujambo. Hujambo is simply hello. That's simply hello. You might also add the gender. You might say hujambo dada if it's a lady, hujambo dada, which is hello sister. Hujambo dada, which is hello sister. Then when you say ninataka, then they will know you want something. They will say hello sister, and then you might go on and say ninataka. Ninataka, which is I want. And you might also go to a market and say habari or hujambo mama. You might say hujambo mama. Hujambo mama, hujambo mama, which is hello mom. Hujambo mama is a hello mom. And then ninataka, and then you proceed. For example, you wanted to buy a pen. You want to buy a pen, or perhaps you wanted to buy some fruits in the market. And you might say fruits are known as a fruit. One single fruit is known as tunda. But many fruits are actually known as a fruit, are known as a matunda. It's known as a matunda. And therefore, if you're talking about ninataka matunda, if you wanted to say ninataka matunda, ninataka matunda, then that's understood to be I want some fruits. There are also other things that you might want to ask for. There are also some other simple things that you might want to ask for. For example, tea, or coffee, all foods. You know, these are 3 things: tea, coffee, food, and therefore you would say ninataka. Ninataka, for example, if you want the case of food, you would actually say ninataka chakula, ninataka chakula, ninataka chakula, which is I want food, I want some food, I want some food, I want some food. If you say ninataka maji, it's understood to be I want some water, I want some water. Ninataka maji, it's maji simply means water, therefore I want some water, or I want water. You can remove some and have it just I want water. If you wanted to have some coffee, you would say ninataka kahawa. Kahawa is coffee, kahawa, which is I want some coffee, I want some coffee. There was something that actually came up when you were talking about what happens in Kenya. In Kenya, people will tell you they want tea, but in essence, they say ninunulie chai. In essence, they want to tip them, which is, for example, if you go into a parking lot and you're looking for some parking space in Kenya, I know of a place, it's called the Aga Khan Walk. I think we have shot a video on the Aga Khan Walk when you were doing the outdoors. And at the Aga Khan Walk, someone will actually show you a spot, and they might even want to give you some assistance with parking that particular car. And at the end of the day, they want to get some tip, and therefore they will say ninataka chai or ninunulie chai, which is buy me some tea, or really just you can leave me a tip, which is crazy. But nonetheless, that is what happens when people are talking about ninataka chai. Chai is ninataka chai. You would say I want some tea, I want some tea. And therefore, if it's not food, food is chakula, water is maji, tea is chai, and kahawa is coffee. Kahawa is really, really coffee. And you can request for all those things using those simple Swahili phrases. And I want to remind us that you do have we do have the vowels in Swahili, the 5 vowels, which constitutes the English letter A, the English letter E, the English letter O, the English letter U, the English letter I. Those are the 5 Swahili vowels. And I will not also forget to remind us that you do have the Swahili consonants. And the Swahili consonants constitute all the words in the English alphabet apart from X and Q. We repeat, Swahili consonants constitute all the letters on the English alphabet apart from X and Q. And now someone might also be wondering, what are some of the differences between Swahili and English? Some of things is the number of our consonants. In Swahili, we do have a lot of our consonants because there is additional consonants, and they are known as a special class of consonants, which combines more than one consonant. For example, the consonant C, it might be a combined to the consonant H to make the consonant cha, and therefore you would say chakula, which is a CH. But you also get to realize that in Swahili we do not have X and Y, and I have always reminded us, but that if anyone was writing to you a message and the message has a Q or an X, then that is not Swahili. That is not Swahili. I'm yet to encounter there isn't any word that has actually been made in Swahili which actually uses Q or X. And I'm not particularly certain for what reason, but those particular 2 letters do not exist. Those particular 2 consonants do not exist in the Swahili language. We also do have, like I said earlier, the special class of consonants. We have some funny special class of consonants. I'm yet to understand where these special class of consonants came from, but we do have the special class of consonants, which is the NG with an apostrophe. For example, let me just use this special class of consonants, which is also sort of an outlier if you ask me. NG is a special class of a consonant in Swahili. For example, if you say the word ng'ombe is a cow, you're talking about a cow. A cow is really translated as ng'ombe, and there is a way you put your tongue, ng'ombe, when you're talking about ng'ombe, the cow, and ng'ombe. And I'm yet to understand how this particular one came to be, because there are not so many words in Swahili which has an NG with an apostrophe, but it's really a special class of a consonant among other different special classes of a consonants that we do have. And nonetheless, I also wanted to tell us, to remind us that Swahili, you cannot really learn Swahili on yourself, by yourself really, but you have to get the assistance of our friends, colleagues, family, and other different people that can help you out in learning Swahili. There are so many resources on the internet that you can use to learn Swahili, and these include the Swahili phrasebook. I have shared with us the notes that I compiled for Swahili classes, and it's available on lulu.com. If you would like to buy that particular one, I kindly do. But you can also find the Lonely Planet Swahili phrasebook, which is available also on Amazon. You can also go to our platform earlier on, which is a Spreaker, and on Spreaker you will find about, there might be about, how many classes might that be? Probably about over 50 Swahili classes that you have conducted on the Black Hot Fire Network, and you can be able to learn from those. I believe if you are able to follow through and learn from those particular classes, then you will be at a better position to become actually more better in Swahili. And I also always like to say that practice is whatever makes you perfect, because if you learn Swahili today, and you might hear about Swahili and it might interest you for a minute. You might say, oh, that's a good thing. It really sounds nice. It's a Bantu language I would love to learn. It's not very, very difficult because the vowel sounds are just 5. The consonants are not so many. It's simple. But like you said, you have to keep on practicing. You cannot just come up and say, I will do it for 2 days, or I will just do it for 1 day, and then maybe I'll take a break and then come back next week. You have to have also some certain level of a consistency, which of course applies to any other kind of a language, not just in Swahili. And therefore, I do believe that you should put in some more effort, because like I said, if you want to join us on our trip to Tanzania, please have at least the basic knowledge on how to conduct Swahili greetings, or of course how to have some courtesy words, for example, like tafadhali, which is please, or thank you, or shukran, which is thank you, or asanti, which is thanks, or you can also say pole for sorry if you're sorry about something. Just the basic. You don't have to be a fluent Swahili speaker when going to Tanzania. I remember Sharon Howard shared with us her experience of being in Tanzania, and she said that she did not have any knowledge of the Swahili language, but she had a translator. But the connection is also, there is a problem also when you're having an interpreter. It's good to have an interpreter, which is, there is no problem with having an interpreter, but nonetheless, you can be able to understand it for yourself. It would be much, much better. People might be just staying there and talking about you. Of course, you would know if you're sharp. I know all of us are sharp. You would actually tell if people are talking about you. You would know from body language and from maybe how they are reacting. You would know. But if you do have a little bit of some understanding, you would know what's happening in the situation. You would know perhaps this is what is happening. You know, this, you would have at least an idea, which is really, really important for you to be able to really just be joining us in the classes and at least just get to understand what is happening. Yes, Sister Nisha, I think you're saying I have been using a Duolingo app every day for almost a month, and also people make them feel good when you use their language. Yes, you're able to connect. Even someone will even become interested in what you're saying, you know, because they do see that you're making an effort. Yeah, they know you are not Swahili. Of course, you know, they will know you're not Swahili, but you have used their own language, and therefore it makes them feel more comfortable. It makes them feel, I don't know, it makes them feel good, really. And when you're conversing in their own language, even if it's just about trying, or even if it's just about saying thank you, asante, or tafadhali, which is for please, or for maybe pole, or maybe for, you know, something that's simple in Swahili, for habari yako, for jambo, for, you know, hujambo, or all that, these different things, shikamo, marahaba, you know, these are some of the simple things in which people can just be doing. Yeah, exactly. But people can call in you all kind of shit behind your back, and you have no idea. At least when you have an idea, you will just be able to respond appropriately. You know, you might feel the energy and the conversation is not right, and you just keep on moving, or you might decide to act accordingly. But nonetheless, I do hope that we shall not have these particular kind of incidences. In Tanzania, people mind their own business. You know, you'll not find Tanzanians really, you know, sitting all day long talking about all these visitor or this particular individual. People are busy, and that is always supposed to be. But nonetheless, we are winding up on our class for Swahili. But remember, we are on Spreaker.com. Let me just put it down, Spreaker.com, 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 and kindly just search for Black Hot Fire. Just go to Spreaker.com, search for Black Hot Fire Network, or also search for Swahili classes. And I believe there are over 50 classes, 50 lessons or classes that you will find right there on the Black Hot Fire Network, because we have been doing this for a long time, and we are hoping that people are also catching on. Haki Sankofa is also one of the individuals that have also been encouraging us with the class for Swahili, because he has been getting really, really good at Swahili. I do not know the rest of the family. Also did have, you know, other family joining us, Jiman, and everyone else joining us. But, you know, sometimes there's a problem with the consistency, because the weekend is normally very, very busy. But nonetheless, I still want to thank every one of us that has taken the time to join us on the show for today. It has been raining a little bit. There is some noise from the outside. Perhaps you might not be able to get me as clear. But nonetheless, I just want to thank every one of us for your patience, for your time, for your interest, really to getting to learn a little bit about this beautiful language of Swahili, and also really making some steps to reconnect to the people on the continent, and I just have that appreciation and apprehension of Swahili. We shall continue tomorrow on the Black Hot Fire Network, really, tomorrow at the same place, the same time. And we shall be discussing about different matters to talk about adjectives, and also concluding on the issue to do with some of the verbs, because verbs are doing what? You know, we have to talk about verbs. You know, every other day people are doing something, and we have to talk about them. I have to send you the money for the internet. You pay me coming tomorrow. Yes, kindly do. Kindly do it. Kindly do. And I want to thank everyone that has been supporting the Black Hot Fire Network. You know, Keith is doing really some wonderful work, and we are hoping that eventually there will be the fruits of the work that we are putting in with the Black Hot Fire Network, because you cannot have work, consistent work, interacting with people, talking about these different matters, and having a way forward, because we are not just we are not just a network, a radio network, or we're not just a radio network. We are also, I believe, a think tank. And being a think tank, we come and share ideas. We also come and share some of the solutions in which we believe will be instrumental to enable, the awakening of our people. And therefore, I do believe that eventually we shall be able to have the effect or the impact, the positive impact of the Blackout Finance Network. And we are doing it with your support. If you would like to support us, kindly cash up Mr. Blackout Fire. You can also use, I believe, the network website has a bit of a problem. So simply kindly use a cash up Mr. Blackout Fire. You can support with $10, $15, $20, $100 if you feel like, $200 if you feel like, and if you're able to, whatever amount that you feel comfortable with, we want to appreciate you for the work that you're doing. Also, you're not too late to join us on the Tanzania trip. You are not really too late. Simply hit up Keith on kcnews15@gmail.com, and I shall give you some of the information. I am loving the response so far because we do have the likes of Mr. LBN, Sister Nish, Brother G-Man, and the rest of the family joining us for a tour to Tanzania. And I'm hoping that they do not get to mess it, because last year the whole pandemic messed up everything. And it's sad, but nonetheless, we're hoping this. They might try, there might also be the same kinds of shakeups. I know they might have, people talking about Tanzania, or the government saying, no, you might be careful about these other places in Tanzania. But nonetheless, I understand all those things out there, but I still believe strongly that we shall have a smoother sailing this particular time compared to last year. Nonetheless, I want to thank you so much. Sister Nish, thank you so much for being part of the Blackout Finance Talk. We love and appreciate you in Seattle. And also Lando Winter, I believe Lando Winter is also in Seattle. Or maybe he's out of the country, I do not know. But Lando Winter, thank you so much for joining us on the show. And also Keith Newsom for giving us this platform. We love and appreciate the work that you are doing. And we hope to keep on doing much more. And also, we're saying no, $9, but Nish. That's I'm not trying to gas up. I'm not trying to gas up anyone. I'm not trying to gas up anyone. But I do believe that there are people who do feel that black media has to be supported, and we have to counter everything else that is happening with all this other mainstream media and white media. I believe there are people who strongly believe in supporting black media, and now I want to appreciate our sister Nish Penda and everyone else that has been supporting black media. At the end of the day, I know. I do not want to say, but I know at the end of the day, there are still people who really feel that, black media needs to be supported and see the value of the work that is being put in. And of course, we just want to wind up on that particular good vibe. Much peace and love. Till next time, family. We appreciate you. Till next time, Kwaheri. So remember to join us as a family tomorrow, same time, 9 p.m. East African time, and also 1 p.m. Eastern time. We shall be connecting tomorrow once again to be able to learn a little bit more of the Swahili. Thank you so much once again, Keith, and Nish, and also Bombi Damfa. I do not know. Is Bombi Damfa joining us in Tanzania? I'm hoping that she shall be joining us if you're still with us. Bombi Damfa, please do let us know if you shall be in Tanzania in April. I understand that you wanted to go into Tanzania and start some studies at the university. And if you're able to join us, it would actually be a wonderful, wonderful delight. You being part of that particular tour as well. And once again, I want to say karibu. Till next time, kwaheri. Kid, you're saying it would be nice if we could. Yeah, it would be really, really wonderful. I know someone who is not going to be coming. I think that is Shepo Semono from South Africa. Of course, we are inviting everyone. That the tour is still open to everyone, but I think Shepo Semono might be joining us on the next one, not this particular one. But nonetheless, we are glad and we are delighted to have everyone joining us on the tour.